So I'm here with Nico, a Start Now Finish Fast member who has a kind of specific story which I think will help both Start Now Finish Fasters and non-Start Now Finish Fasters, because it's not a rip-roaring story of success from beginning to end where everything exploded into a massive creative flow, but it is a story of success nonetheless, but one which I think will help. So thank you very much for doing this, Nico.
You're welcome.
So why don't you you just told me you're in month 5 of Start Now Finish Fast, why don't you just kind of explain how you got to month 5 of Start Now Finish Fast, because it's not the usual trajectory.
Yeah, no, I wasn't born with a headset on my head, unfortunately, so I had to find out for myself what to do with my life. I actually started a program last summer.
So how many months ago is that?
Well, that's let's say about 10 or 11 months ago. Started that one, did the first couple of months without finishing any track. I didn't understand the concept of just finishing music, so kind of fell off, so to speak, and I just sort of did everything else than not make music, playing video games and feel bad for myself, hating my job and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, around Christmas, half a year after when I was supposed to be done with the the program, I got the opportunity to do it again, and I said to myself, okay, this time I'm just gonna do it. New year, 2014, fresh, everything, just go for it. And I kind of did. I sold my copy of Call of Duty. Can't be the only one who was addicted to that game. I sold my game, and I just started doing it, actually. Getting up in the morning, making music, and that was kind of it for me for at least 3-4 months. And then I actually fell off again for some reason, and I just lost every bit of energy left to make music, and I was starting to question myself again. Is this what I'm going to do with my life? And all those negative thoughts. But then I told myself, just give yourself a break. Just take 2 weeks off without even thinking about it. Just let yourself, do something else. Be social, hang with friends, and all that kind of stuff you tend to forget when you get caught up in the music world. But, and then one day, actually, I woke up, and this song just came straight into my head, and I was pretty tired, so I just took my phone with Evernote and just I whistled and hummed the whole track into my phone. And 3 days later, out come this, the best song I ever made up to that point. And this one is in month 4. And then a week later came out another track, and I was on again. So I just, I picked myself up after falling off. And like you said, the wagon never, it just stops. It's there waiting for you. So
when you fall off the wagon isn't continuing. It will stop and it will wait for you. All you need to do is get back on it again. I think this is really, really important, because while the program does help with, in fact, one of the ways it does help is by helping you back onto the wagon, by realizing that, because when you have those times, which always happen to everyone, absolutely everyone, those times when you get stuck, or you're in a kind of a fallow period where there isn't much creative inspiration going on, that is temporary, just as the times when you're completely in flow and absolutely loving it and like bursting with the ideas are temporary. But one of the things it's important to do is not get stressed about that, because then you've got the added problem of the stress or beat yourself up about that, because then you've got the added problem of all the negative, like, oh, am I right for this, is this the right thing for me, and all that kind of stuff, which actually stops you from getting back on that that wagon, which is one of the reasons I wanted to specifically talk to you. I mean, before you started the program.
Yes. The first time or the second time?
The first time, the actual first time.
Yeah.
So, what had you actually done any music before that? How much music had you done before that?
Well, I had completed one almost full track in 6 months, which was my first track ever.
Right.
And I was just playing with the idea to become a music producer and thinking that it's too late and everything, all that kind of stuff. But it's never too late, actually.
How old are you?
26.
26.
Yeah, about 27 in a month's time.
Mm-hmm. It's so not too late. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I'm speaking of that. I'm actually happy I haven't been doing it before now, because I've grown up in certain ways. Yeah. And by falling off the wagon, I'm actually glad it happened, because now I learned that it's, like you say, temporary. You don't have to freak out like the way I did, and because now it's happened a couple of times, and I know I will get my inspiration back, and sooner or later I'll be back on doing it.
So you'd finished one track before the program, then you started the program, and then did you fit? But in the first 2 months of the program, you didn't finish anything. So
no, I just fiddled around with one track, never getting anywhere, and I didn't sit down every day. It was just maybe once a week, but I didn't get anywhere, and I didn't fully understand that. Just do it a little bit day by day, and the quality would just go up the hill in no time. But I didn't actually fully comprehend that concept until the second time around.
Mm-hmm. And you said you sold your was it Xbox or PlayStation?
Yeah, no, the PlayStation game.
PlayStation, but the PlayStation game, and
I didn't sell my PlayStation.
No, you didn't sell your PlayStation. Couldn't go that far. Yeah, no, but I mean, but basically, so you sacrificed something that in some way was important to you. So
yeah,
I mean, do you think how much of an impact do you think that had?
A lot, actually, because although I love video games, but so they can be holding you back big time without you knowing it. Because of course you can pursue something in video games, but I just took a little moment and sat down to think about what I'm not going anywhere with this, and it was the little blog post you did with the small hinges. Opens big doors or something like that. That got me to, maybe I just need to sacrifice this because it's taking away all my time.
Yeah, well, one of the things I kind of quite often say is that success is about two things. It's about what you're prepared to sacrifice and what you're prepared to do. Basically, those two things. So are kind of those who get further in life, whatever that might mean for you. Those get further in life basically do two things differently. They sacrifice more and they do more. It's kind of it's quite simple, really, when you look at it like that.
And now I don't find it that hard to sacrifice small things, because I know in the end I'll come out better on the other end. So, well, that was a huge thing for me, actually, doing that little small thing. I just went and sold my game, and I got this, burst from it, and just started making music. It wasn't great music, but I accepted it. It was like, this is part of your journey, You just get better and better each day. And now, 5 months in, I don't think I would have, if you asked me a year ago, if you show me my my latest track a year ago and say you just did that in 5 months, I would not believe you, actually, because it's really strange, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing how much it's amazing how much progress you can make when you start making those daily actions, isn't it? That's just daily progress. I mean, so in what way? I mean, what part of the program? Obviously, daily practices have become very important to you, which is one of the things I suggest. I don't say, because not everybody can do daily practice, but it's just as often as you possibly can, basically, as regularly as you possibly can. But in what way has the program itself helped you kind of create this new way of being?
Well, that's a tough question, or maybe I didn't understand it fully. In what ways did you ask me that?
Yeah, in what way has like Start Now, Finish Fast helped you behave differently or act differently? Do the things you're doing now?
Well, yeah, it's this self-awareness. It's all a combination with the meditation and this program and the mindset you teach and the belief system. I think it's the belief system that has, changed over the last few months. That I don't think when the first time I started with the program, I don't think I believed fully that I could make it or whatever that means, But now I'm believing it more and more and more and more. And there's less doubt every day that I will make it. Kind of strange saying it, but it feels like I'm going somewhere, and I think it's the belief system has been a big part of it.
Yeah.
Not just in music, but in everyday life as well.
So actually believing that you can get to where you want to go.
Yeah, believing it, because there's a huge difference in thinking you believing it and actually believing it.
That's true. Yeah, because if you don't believe it, then you're not going to sacrifice those things, and you're not going to do those things. But it's a kind of a bit of a chicken and egg situation, because without making, it's like a leap of faith at first. So without making, so for instance, you sold your you're saying just recently you've started to really believe it, but at the point of selling your Call of Duty game, you must have done that without the belief that you had now. But you did it. Was it almost like what was that in terms of the belief? Did you believe it, or was it just an action to get moving?
A little bit of both, I think, but it was mainly the action, to get started. And I think it was around the same time I watched this video from Will Smith, who did I don't know if it was an Oprah interview or was it what it was, but he had this unshakable belief that just if you want something, you just gotta take it, and you have to work hard and that kind of stuff, and take it step by step. And he had this brick wall thing where he was young. He and his brother had to make a huge brick wall on his father's store or something like that, and they said to each other, how can we build a huge wall? And their father just told them to just take this brick right now and just place it nice and neatly over there, and that's the only thing you got to do. Just place that brick there, and suddenly there was a big wall in front of them. And I think it's something about the story that did something to me. And I always wanted to be, everything's got to be perfect and this is it. But as long as you can accept that, it's like a journey. It's a small baby step all the time. And once you actually can accept that, it's so much easier. It's okay to, be bad or not be bad, but not being able to make a super hit once you start making music, because nobody can do that actually.
No, I mean it's the gap between your ability and your taste, as Ira Glass famously says, is always going to be. I mean, Ira Glass says in that famous little 2-minute speech, Ira Glass says, eventually you will close that gap. I actually believe you never will, and because I always think the gap is moving away. As you get closer to it, it gets further away. So it's okay to dislike what you do, and if you're not prepared to dislike what you do, if you're not prepared to dislike at least some aspects of what you do, and if you're not prepared to put stuff out with that in mind, then either you need to maybe stop doing it, or change that, because I think this is the problem that people get frustrated with. They want it to be this idealized piece of music, and it can never be that, because the definition of what makes you great, the reason you are great, is because you're always striving to be better. I mean, that's the impulse, that's the motivation, that's growth. Yeah.
And that's what's great about it too, I think.
Yeah, that's what's so. It's almost like a drug, isn't it? It's like it's something you want more of. You want to get better. You want to improve.
So there's so much to learn. I'm not a professional musician yet. I can't play the piano, and I'm certainly not a expert in frequencies. But I've gotten better. Yeah, and I understand you don't have to be all of those things to make music, and it's.
Well, I think if people were to go and listen to your music, they might be surprised that you can't play the piano, because actually the music that you've put up on the forum is in fact very melodic. It's very there's a lot of music in there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I've listened to music a lot in my life, especially electronic music. Mm-hmm. I'm actually surprised that I never even sat down to think that, maybe I should make some music. I just did. It didn't hit me. But yeah, it's hard to explain, because I just get melodies into my head, and I know. I just in the music software, I just go into the piano roll and just find the notes, basically, and I just kind of know what sounds good and what doesn't. Maybe it's really hard to explain.
But you do that without musical training.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is exactly. Even though I've had musical training, I actually viewed it as a in some ways a double-edged sword. It was it helped me in some ways, but it really held me back in other ways. And this is something that I sort of. I'm sure people sometimes say, "Oh, yeah, it's easy for you to say when you've had a musical education." But
yeah, I know.
But the truth is, some of the greatest musicians I've ever worked with have never had any official musical training, but they have used their ears essentially. Which is from listening to your music, what you do. I mean, I was actually quite surprised just then when you said you'd had no musical training, because your music sounds like you have.
Thanks.
Yeah,
that's nice to hear.
So yeah, and also at the end of this, we'll tell everyone where they can actually go and listen to music, just in case they don't believe. I mean, how long for instance, that last track that you did? So the first track you did took like 6 months to finish the one. So I mean, how long roughly does it take you? For instance, that last one that you did, that is your favourite one so far. How long does that take?
Well, yeah, I actually made another one after that, which is now my favorite. But yeah, the one before that was actually made in 3 days.
Okay.
And plus one session with a friend of mine who did the mastering and teach me a whole bunch of stuff that I surely have forgotten, because he knows, he is a technician, he knows everything about frequencies, and he was telling me all this stuff. Anyway, about 1 to maybe 2 weeks is now what it takes for me to finish a track.
And how long do you work? So how long do you work each day on your music?
Well, in general, it's about 2 to 3 hours, almost each day. Well, the last month or so, there's been some events and that kind of stuff that I haven't been able to get up every morning. But yeah, roughly 2 to 3 hours every day.
And I mean, how long did you used to play on Call of Duty every day?
More.
So you've got some extra free time too.
Before. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So actually selling that Call of Duty game not only has allowed you to make this music and become, you know, the music producer you always wanted to be, but it's also given you some extra free time.
Yeah.
That's
I can watch Game of Thrones as well.
Sorry?
I can watch Game of
Game of
Thrones
Thrones as well. Funny that, because I'm actually probably going to go and watch that after this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's amazing how fast, because when I started in January, it took me about a month to finish the track, and it's just become less and less. And there's something in
yeah. Sorry, go on.
Well, yeah, there's something in that when you say that the best music you tend to make comes out the fastest, and I really believe that now. After those 3 days in the studio, it was roughly about 10 hours or so.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to ask. It's funny that I was about to ask that question. Is the relationship between you know, time spent and quality of track? I mean, the what most people assume. In fact, I occasionally get emails from people who join the free training and see that I do this program called Start Now Finish Fast, and I get these angry emails from people telling me how I'm, you know, I don't care about music and I'm encouraging everyone to make terrible music, all this kind of thing. And my experience, and most of the experience of the people I've met, worked with, coached or helped or anything, or collaborated with in the studio of all levels, is that the best stuff comes out the quickest. Now that's not always the case, but it is.
Of course not.
But it is often. In fact, it's probably 90% of the time for 90% of the people. I think there are people who that isn't the case for. They prefer to kind of really nut it out and grind through. You know, in fact, thinking of poetry, W.H. Auden, I think he was somebody that spent hours crafting each thing. But in general, certainly for the kind of music, well, I don't think it's even just the kind of music. I think maybe for anyone. I mean, Mozart used to write his music really quickly. So, you know, and so it's not even about the kind of music. It's just I think maybe the kind of person. For most people, the best music comes out the quickest. It's almost like you get in touch with something. Get in touch with something that is more pure creatively somehow, more. I don't know. The thought sometimes gets in the way. If you know what I mean.
Certainly understand that point, because it's the insight thing you go through in month. I think it's month 3, is it? Where you go into the insight versus and it's like you're being possessed by a music genius which just does everything for you, and you wake up on the other end and just well, there's a track.
Yeah,
because I know your thinking tends to get in the way, actually. Yeah. Or the perfectionist, like I used to say, because I'm a struggling perfectionist, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I know you're definitely getting there. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Nico. I mean, if you had a piece of advice to anyone, whether they're on the program, Start Now Finish Fast, or whether they're not on the program, but anyone who's kind of had this kind of stop-start, you know, situation, what piece of advice would you give them?
Well, just try the best you can to just get on the wagon again, firstly, and really know that you just believe in what you do, and you'll probably get there eventually. Well, I'm not a successful producer yet, but I know my quality has just escalated. Had this after the break, it just escalated quickly, and just go with it and well, don't give up. Actually, you will get the inspiration back, and just give yourself a little break once in a while.
Excellent.
Someone needs more breaks, but yeah, basically, I think if that made sense.
It made complete sense, and it was great advice. So,
cool.
If somebody wants to hear your music, the music made by a non-musically trained person, but which sounds like it's made by a musically trained person, where would they go?
A musician who's not a musician, basically. Well, it's soundcloud.com/Nico Engebret, which is spelled NicoBret, which is 50% my first name and 50% of my second name.
But there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Well, I'll also put a link. I'll also put a link to it somewhere on this page, so people can go and have a listen. But thank you so much for your time, Nico. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone watching does too. Keep going. I'll see you on the forum.
Yeah, we'll do. All right.
Cheers.